Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Jerry Cooey.
I am Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
And, in case I hadn't said this recently, when I first met Deborah, she was a Green Party member, and we have moved her to the Democratic Party now. And I'm thinking,
Way to the center of left.
if you folks will come in and help me, if you'll give her some encouragement when you see her out in public, I think we can get her to the right side and make her a Republican.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Well,
the Democrats may push me farther left. That's what's going to probably happen.
well, folks, we wanted to get to it in the last show, but I wanted to have enough time to do this. It is election season. First and foremost, let me say this. Please be patient with political signs. Please don't allow political signs to cause you not to participate. If anything, I hope it motivates you to participate. Some of the political signs are going to start coming up. One of the things that I personally do, and we do our best to try to self-police this thing. There are candidates sometimes that get a little out of line with their signs. They're supposed to be on private property with permission. And I want to encourage all the candidates that are watching this. You have an obligation to make sure we don't wake up in the morning and 47 of your signs be in the middle of Highway 90.
You know what my favorite political sign of last season was?
What's that?
2 years ago?
What's that?
Remember the Pullum property.
Yeah.
We have two of those. Two of the architects, no, one this year running. So we may see those signs resurface.
Exactly.
Because we have one person who voted for that, Commissioner Don Salter.
Right. Well, that is true. Absolutely. He voted for the purchase of the Pullum property, of which I might point out to you, we purchased it in '09. There is still zero, nada, no, nothing, no activity whatsoever.
But we did get those tiny little bits of land where the signs out front are on deeded back to the county so that we could pay for the signs.
But we needed that property.
Yes.
We needed it. We had to have that property.
Urgent.
So now to let you know, you can do a simple Google yourself. Supervisor of elections for Santa Rosa County. Want to go over everybody that's on the list so far. First race is going to be clerk of courts. Mary Johnson is the incumbent in that race. Been in there many years. She has drawn opposition this year by Mr. Don Spencer. So currently there are only two people in the
Republican.
Both Republicans in the clerk's race. District 1, the current holder of that seat is Jim Williamson.
This is District 1 County Commissioner.
District 1 County Commissioner. The current holder of the seat is Jim Williamson. He has drawn two folks running also in that race. Tom Stewart, who was a former one-term commissioner in Santa Rosa County, and Mr. Mark Cotton has decided to throw his name into the ring. So,
again, all Republican.
All Republican. Yeah. There's three folks in that race. In District 3 County Commission race, the current holder of that seat is Don Salter, and he is in his third term. And he has drawn two folks running against him. One is Ed Carson, and the other is Jeffrey Kelly. District 3, I'll beat Deborah to the punch. They're all Republicans. On District 5, recently, District 5, that is Lane Lynchard. He's held the seat for the last 4 years. There is a person who has signed up to run in that race. His name is Pete Sutherland. So in the District 5 race, there's two people in that race. So far in property appraiser's race, Greg Brown has been in there for many years now. He's not drawn any opposition, so as of June the 15th, if nobody else steps up, then he'll go in unopposed. Now the school board races. School Board District 2, Hugh Winkles is the current holder of that. He has held that office for 6 terms. He has opposition in that race. Joseph Poole will be running. That's the District 2 school board race.
That's a nonpartisan race.
Not nonpartisan
Doesn't
race.
matter your party.
Right. District 4 has gathered up quite a few folks in that race. That seat has been held by Joanne Simpson for the last couple terms. She's not seeking re-election. So in that race there's Charles Elliott, Robert Meddy, Jennifer Grancy, and William Bledsoe, all in that race. So like I said, Joanne Simpson is not seeking re-election, so that makes it an open seat. There are 4 choices in that race. And before we go any further, all of these races are county-wide races. All right, so you know, these folks are having to go, you know, north, south, east, and west, the whole county. It's all county-wide.
Everybody votes for them.
Everybody votes. Well, where there's only Republicans, it'll be a Republican primary, and then the race will be over. So
Yes.
right.
But where there's only Republicans, Democrats, you know, other parties can vote too.
Right.
If an independent or steps in or a Democrat,
Right.
then you can only vote for your
Right.
own party's primary.
Sheriff's race, current holder, Wendell Hall. He is in his 3rd term now. He has decided to go for his 4th term. In that race, Chris Roper is running as an independent, William Cutts is running as an NPA, and Chuck Sloan as a Republican. So in the sheriff's race, as of today, Chuck Sloan and Wendell Hall will be on the Republican primary, and you'll choose between those 2 gentlemen. And then in the general election, Mr. Cutts and Mr. Roper and the winner of the Republican primary will all be on the ballot together. And
And only Republicans will get to vote in that primary because they have the 2 independent
correct.
candidates.
Superintendent of Schools, your current holder of that seat is Tim Rosdick. He has drawn opposition, Dr. George McCormick. So there's as of today, there's 2 choices for superintendent of school, interestingly enough, these are Republicans. The superintendent is a party affiliated, but the school board members are
Right.
not,
Right.
which is, okay. Me personally, I think your party shouldn't matter. When you get elected, you're supposed to look over the
agree.
needs of everyone.
Yeah, I
but-
agree with you.
Supervisor of elections. Our long-term supervisor of elections, Ann Bodenstein, she is elected to hang it up, and she has just done a very, my 2 cents worth, a wonderful job in her time as supervisor of elections through some very difficult times, the 2000 and the 2004 elections, which was quite controversial. She has elected to not seek re-election. So we have Tappy Villain is one person that has stepped up, and Buck Lee is the other person that has stepped up to run in that race. And to date, the other big office in Santa Rosa County right now is the tax collector. That is currently held by Stan Nichols, and to date he has not drawn any opposition. You know, and one thing that you know, the tax collector, it's you're not making policies. You know, somebody's really got to kind of mess up.
It's a real management job.
Yeah, you know, it's so you know, that's all the slots now, folks. Now I want to put my commercial out here. All of these folks are going to get out there and they're going to try to talk you into voting for them. Learn about them. When you go to the Supervisor of Elections webpage, all of them have a telephone number listed here. They have an address. I will tell you myself, a name pops up, There's a telephone number. I call them, and I have a personal conversation with them. What are you about? Tell me what you've done. These candidates want those kind of phone calls, folks. All right. It's they've decided to put their name on the dotted line. Let me assure you, they want to hear from you. This is a very large county, and it's difficult to get to everyone. If you cut out the middleman and just call them on the phone or send them a letter or ask them for their email address, they'll be tickled to death to talk to you. I mean, that's what this is all about. These folks want to be elected, and so they will be making the rounds throughout the county. But there's the information you need right there. It's on the Supervisor of Elections website.
And we're going to also give all of them a chance to come on our show.
Right, absolutely, right. And several of the candidates I've already talked to. This is something that Deborah and I believe very strongly in. We will, when we see how the races are going to shake out, we are going to do our utmost. We will give everybody the same amount of time when we see how many total candidates we have. And we're pretty much going to turn over Santa Rosa Week TV to the candidates. Deborah will ask, two or three guiding questions to let them get their platform out. And then what we tell the candidates is look into the camera, and as long as it's not anything ugly or derogatory, say whatever you want to. We want the candidates. This is something that I believe strongly in, and this is what we're going to do. I want the candidates to be able to say what they want to say without having. Sometimes other media has a tendency to want to hem people up in an answer. That's not us at Santa Rosa Week TV. We're going to make sure they get an opportunity to speak their piece.
Well, my problem with other media in this area is that they just don't even interview people.
Right.
They, this person we think is going to win, or we want them to win, maybe, and then other candidates don't even get a voice.
Right. And look, from the candidate's perspective, folks, if you're a member of a homeowners association, your church, your club organization. Look, if 10 of you get together at some place to drink coffee in the morning, call these candidates and tell them where you're going to be. In most cases, let me assure you, they're going to come find you because they want an opportunity to have an audience with the citizens and with the voters and the citizens of Santa Rosa County. So don't shy away from this, and for goodness sakes, don't go to the polls not knowing who you want to vote for. Reach out to these folks. I will guarantee you, I know when I've run for office, I've been asked, can you be here? Can you be there? Of course, we'll have a few political rallies throughout the county, but the best opportunity for these candidates is where you can give them a little more time is at your homeowner association meeting, at your club meetings, all this kind of stuff. Let me assure you, they're very busy this time of year, and will get busier. But they will work out a time so that they can come talk to you individually or your group. So, we have an obligation in this thing too. These folks are running for office, and we have an obligation as citizens to educate ourselves, know who's out there, know what the issues are, and then most importantly, go down and vote. Okay, and I guess it's the time of the year where I've got to give get up on my soapbox, but it's time to turn the TV off, get off the couch, learn about these candidates. Folks, we are voting on positions that are very important. The supervisor of elections, are you kidding me? That's ultimately important to me. County commissioners, how our county goes forward, massively important. I know I will, I know Best Boy will, and I know Deborah will. We will have the little I voted sticker on our shirt. This thing is too important, and collectively we need to pick good people for our offices in Santa Rosa County.
Yeah.
And this is a big year. Of course, since we're talking about this too, as far as federal elections are concerned and the president, it looks like, well, Deborah's picked her candidate. You know, Obama, you know,
Probably going to be the nominee for
what's
the
his name?
Democratic
Barack
Party.
Hussein
Correct.
Obama will be running as a Democrat, and it looks like on the Republican side, it's probably going to be Mitt Romney.
Yes.
So we will watch the fun. Now, Deborah.
Well, I just want to say something real
Okay.
fast. Just remind people that you have to register to vote
Right.
pretty well in advance. If you're not registered and you show up at the polls, you can't vote.
Right.
So make sure you
we'll
register
we'll
ahead
make
of time.
sure that in future shows we will
Yes.
get out the cutoff dates and all that. I know there was a lot of folks that changed party registration because of a presidential primary this
Right.
year. So, you know, we will get with Ann Bodenstein and make sure that we give you the all the important dates and keep you posted on all of that.
And I just want to let all the registered attorneys out there know that there is still no opposition to State Attorney Bill Edens in this district,
That is correct.
unfortunately.
Deborah and I, we are actively seeking someone to run against Bill Edens.
Party doesn't matter.
Certainly I've chronicled on this show my disappointment in how matters were handled.
And let's just mention the state attorney is the linchpin in this district that decides who, let's say, corrupt officials get indicted and who don't,
Right.
and get investigated.
I think it's what I would like to see, and folks, all you lawyers out there, I tell you what. Let me say this from a personal note. I think that some of my friends have proven that we can have a little impact in elections in Santa Rosa County. Should you be an attorney and should you have an interest, I would certainly encourage you to step up to the plate, because what we really need is a junkyard dog that is no respecter of persons, whether you're a wealthy elected person or just an elected person, or where you're a poor person. The law it needs to be handled fair and equitable across the board. And I have some real issues with how that's being handled right now. Now, I had an opportunity, and Deborah knows I'm going to talk about this for a minute. We had a Tea Party meeting this past Monday, and Brother Carl Gallups was the featured speaker. And whatever side of the road you're on over the current holder of the presidency, Barack Hussein Obama, whatever side of the road you're on whether his birth certificate or whether he's qualified constitutionally to be the president, Brother Carl has studied this very deeply. He has enlisted a lot of friends. He has studied it, got with other groups that have looked at it. And whatever side you fall on, I will have to say that it was a very compelling 1-hour discussion that was held at the Tea Party meeting. And across the screen here, you're going to see it's www.carlgallups.com. I would encourage you to go to that. Personally, I still don't know what to think. Here's what's troubling to me. If you want to run for a local office, they check to make sure you live in the county you run in. On the president's side, though, even though there's qualifications for that job, apparently the folks that are supposed to check that in all 50 states, the Secretary of State in all 50 states is supposed to check the qualifications of everyone who signs up to run for office. Apparently that didn't occur. And that's troubling item number one for me. That's why I mentioned earlier, it's supervisor of elections is important. The Secretary of State's important too when it comes to these elections. I don't know if his birth certificate is valid or not. I can tell you that the ball was dropped several times. But go to www.carlgallups.com, and he's got a button on there all about it. tremendous amount of research has been done, how court cases have gone, the whole 9 yards. Very fascinating discussion, and I think one of the things that walked away from that really stuck with me, and folks, I don't know if you remember this or not, but in the election, John McCain was the Republican candidate, Barack Hussein Obama was the Democratic candidate. Your elected officials decided to do an investigation on John McCain to see whether or not he was constitutionally qualified to be a candidate for the President of the United States of America. Yet we didn't look at the other guy. That's really
Right.
troubling to me. I mean, if we're going to look into this, I think we need to look at all of them. And you know,
And what they found was that McCain was qualified,
they did.
and
Absolutely.
he was physically born outside of the United States.
Absolutely, but they didn't even look at
To
Barack
American parents.
Hussein Obama's, and I think fair is fair. Look, folks, I'm the kind of person that, well, in my vehicle right now is a pocket copy of the Constitution. There's several at my house, and when I go to public meetings, there's one in my back pocket. That's the thread that holds this thing together. And we can't look the other way because there might be a little gray area, or maybe somebody might have sort of know it. We need to follow the Constitution.
Well, right, and what's going to happen is the Supreme Court is going to have to rule, irregardless. I mean, whether say he didn't have the birth certificate, and they said that he does have it. Let's say he didn't have it; he has an American parent. The Supreme Court has to go in there and say, just like same with John McCain,
Right.
you have an American
Make a
parent,
ruling.
therefore you are a natural born citizen.
Right.
There's nothing laid down in the Constitution or anywhere else that defines natural born citizen.
Right.
And that's what they needed, because you have a lot of military and civilian DoD families overseas whose kids were born overseas, say even in a German hospital, in the military
Right.
hospital, they were not born on American soil. I mean, are you really going to tell all these kids of these service members, well, you can't run for
Right.
the highest office in the land because your parents
Right.
were serving your country overseas?
Yeah, I think the question needs to be answered. One of the things that another point that I was not aware of that was brought forward that is very troubling to me is that 2 days after the election, Barack Hussein Obama had a private meeting with the Supreme Court of the United States of America, with the exception of the most conservative judge. He was not there. And folks, think about it. I like how Brother Carl did that. He said, think about if this was a situation here in Santa Rosa County, and you got in trouble with the law, and you were going to have to go to court. It would be unfair for the opposing attorney to go have conversations with the judge, and that was just another piece of that really troubled me.
Although, according to State Attorney Bill Edens, if you didn't mean to do something wrong, you don't need to go to
That's
court
true.
anyway.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, look, folks, if you do something and you didn't mean to do it,
Or you didn't know it was wrong.
if you didn't know it was wrong, all you got to do is call Bill Edens. He'll give you a get-out-of-jail-free card.
If you're an
And,
economic development agency.
Well, economic development or certain elected officials, it's not a problem. Got a couple stories here outside of our county, but folks, let me say this first. Although we've found some issues with what people were doing using emails in Santa Rosa County, for the most part, I will say that Santa Rosa County has been pretty upfront. You ask for it. Sometimes there's been delays. In the case of the former Economic Development Agency, Miss Cindy Anderson, she was problematic, but she's no longer an employee of Santa Rosa County, so hopefully that goes away. But for the most part, Santa Rosa County's done a pretty good job on following the Sunshine Law with letters, following the letter of the law in the Sunshine, and I want to tip my hat to them. I really do. I mean that with great sincerity. And as citizens, we should appreciate that. I got a couple stories here that I want to point out to you. One in Walton County. Now this one takes the cake. They got caught red-handed using private emails and doing some backdoor stuff. They were taken to court. Actually, Representative Matt Gaetz took them to court. The judge ruled in favor of the plaintiff. And they were basically told, if you do it again, you're going to be in contempt of court. And 5 months later, they were right back using private emails again and working their magic behind the scenes. Now, the other story is in Panama City, and folks, this will help you understand why myself and Deborah and several other peoples watch so carefully our economic development, our former economic development organization in Santa Rosa County. I want to read something to you. This is all, you know, behind the doors, things that were going on there. The head of the Economic Development Association, when they left their job, they deleted all the emails. But I want to read this to you. This is the kind of stuff that can happen if you don't stay vigilant, folks. You have to stay on top of this. A company called Red Pine was awarded a $5.1 million incentive package from state and local governments, including $400,000 and $350,000 in cash awarded by the Department of Economic Development Opportunity, that's the state of Florida, and the Bay County Commissioners, respectively. The company was in operation for only 2 months, hired only 5 employees, and closed their doors. Okay, this is why you have to pay attention, folks.
Where'd the money go?
Where did the money go? $5.1 million, and I'm quite certain they ran some press releases over there about how wonderful this is.
Absolutely.
$5.1 million. That's why we have to stay vigilant, folks. That's why, join with me. Let's make sure that we get ethical, moral people in office so we don't have to deal with these issues.
And I'll just slip in that's why it's stupid to have economic development incentives to begin with.
Well, there you go, folks. I'm Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for watching. Good night.